Sony's in a pickle. And you might say to yourself, why are they in a pickle? They just sold the most consoles out of the consoles. They're selling out around the world, 7-1, 2-1, 3-1. You don't really make tons of money on hardware, you make it on software. And Sony wants 12 live service games. They're the ones that said that, by the way. We want 12 live service games. They also said that out of that 12, if just one hits, it'll pay for the other 11 and continue to bring in cash so that we can fund these hugely expensive $300, $400, $500 million, maybe even more when you look at Rockstar Games setting the benchmark with Grand Theft Auto 6. Rumors of $1 billion for that game. So why are they chasing live service? Well, if everything's fine, they're making tons of money. They've got the most console sales. They've got PSN and PS Plus subscribers. If everything's fine, why then the need for a live service push? It's because in the past, the games that they leaned on to bring in people to their platform that were live service were third party. They had these sweetheart deals, but now those games, in particular Call of Duty and several others, are owned now by their competitor Microsoft. So you know Sony doesn't want to hand over money every single whatever the contract is. Let's say like it's like a landlord. They got to pay rent to Microsoft. They never own. They just keep renting. Not a great position to be in. So what do they need? They need something to hit, and they need it to hit hard. Who do they look to? Their number one studio, Naughty Dog. Best creativity in the industry. I wasn't a big fan of the story in Last of Us 2, but technically it's an achievement. In fact, Microsoft internally themselves said that they have nothing to match The Last of Us 2 graphically, technically, even on PC. Microsoft's words, not mine. So Sony says, hey, over there, make us a little live service action. Get us some cash flowing. 4 to 5 years later, miraculously, even after purchasing Bungie coming in with their expertise in live service, telling Naughty Dog what will and won't work, telling them what it takes to make a live service game, telling them how to run a live service game pre and post launch. All of a sudden, 5 years later, Naughty Dog says, you know what, we just came to the realization that if we made a live service game, we would have to support it for a long time. And we just didn't know that. And it would take away from our heritage of really great single player experiences. So we're going to move back to doing what we do best, live service games. Hallelujah. What an amazing revelation. People are jumping up and down. If you think that they just came to the realization that after creating a live service game, you had to put tons of resources into it to keep it going, I mean, there are examples out there that they could look to. Fortnite, Call of Duty, Apex Legends, Minecraft, tons of examples of live service games. And one of the biggest, Bungie, is now owned by Sony, talking to Naughty Dog about live service games, but never told them that somehow post-launch you have to commit resources to keep building a live service game. No, of course they knew this. They just couldn't get it done. They just couldn't get it to work. Whatever happened internally, it was not working, and they just decided to say, we're done. Of course, they're going to find a way to say things just didn't work out. We're going back to what we do best. They're not going to come out and say, listen, we completely and totally suck at making live service games. We're horrible. This game was terrible. It would have never lasted. It would have never worked. They're not going to say that. They're going to say something to soften the blow. You expect that, fine. But now, Sony's in a real pickle because they need a live service game of their own, because they don't want to continue to be a renter to Microsoft's building that is live service. They've got tons of live service games now. Even if you look at Halo, and Halo, full disclosure, I don't play multiplayer games. I can't stand live service. I don't like running around shooting people online. I think it's just boring. My opinion. But they've got Halo. At the lower end, let's say, they've got Halo, they've got Gears, they've got Forza, they've got Diablo now, they've got Call of Duty, they've got Minecraft, they've got a ton of revenue drivers, a ton of studios that are pulling in money. Naughty Dog's not making any money for Sony. They're re-releasing games, remastering games, $10 upgrade fees. Yes, you can buy it for $60 or $70 in a package. Yes, there are special editions, which I'm sure some people will buy, but this isn't really something that's going to keep the money coming in. Even Naughty Dog says that. It's really hard to monetize what we do. And Sony knows that. And I'm not saying they should move away from single player games. I love single player games. But I feel like Sony themselves have signaled that this is something that they need. Because if it wasn't, they wouldn't have shifted resources for 12 of these games. And now they're in a real stressful situation when it comes to this, because they've essentially failed with their best studio. Now, there are games in the works. There's Helldivers 2. These games are not going to hit as big as the heavy hitters. There's only so much room for these big games as a service. You can only make a Fortnite and an Apex Legends and a Call of Duty and a Minecraft. You can only make those one time. It's hard to do that. It's hard to copy that and get something to hit and hit hard, which is why Microsoft, with a boatload of cash, can just say, let's just buy it. I'm not saying that's a good thing. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying this is the situation that Sony's in now. Going into 2024, these partnerships cost money to get second and third party games exclusive to your platform. And then you still have to worry about funding those big AAA games that you're known for. And then you've got to wait at least 4 to 7 years for one of those big AAA games. And in between that time period, where are we getting money from? Cost of PlayStation Portal to produce, cost of PlayStation VR 2 to produce, cost of PlayStation 5 to produce, cost of keeping the studio's lights on, cost of keeping the employees, cost of funding the deals to get games into PlayStation Plus, Premium, and Extra, cost of paying your first-party studios to then develop AAA games. All of that cost versus what's coming in. That's why they need something like a Minecraft, like a Call of Duty, like an Apex Legend, like a Grand Theft Auto even, which is everything to everyone. It's a single player game, it's a multiplayer game, it's a games as a service. I mean, it's everything. They need it, and they need it bad. And they're in a position going into 2024, which is pretty precarious if you take a look at everything going on in the industry. I think Microsoft's plan here, I'm not saying I'm for it or against it. I feel like, having the most money isn't something that I give you credit for, but I do see the back end of squeezing a bit, and Sony is feeling it, and they need to find something that can generate a ton of cash the way that Microsoft has by acquiring all of this stuff. And if Naughty Dog can't do it, who is going to do it? I don't think Helldivers 2 is going to be the next Fortnite. I certainly don't think Concord is going to be the next Minecraft. So what happens going into 2024? Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.